Yeah, we first found out about SafeBrain at the annual coaches conference in Naples, and it really intrigued us. You know, we were always looking to gain any sort of advantage as a program that benefits our players. We're really a player-centric organization. We always look at things, you know, how can we improve the player experience? And you know, our players, we never lose sight of, they're student athletes first. It's really important that they stay focused academically and focused on their lives after hockey, and anything we can do to make sure that life after hockey is safe, we do. And when we found out about SafeBrain and the technology and all the data, the critical data that it can give us to prevent, you know, potential head injury, we were jumped all over it. It was a no-brainer.
You know, I was first introduced to SafeBrain back in our tournament in Chicago back in 2012. And it's a unique system that basically gauges the trauma that the brain takes on a big hit. Now, back when we played hockey, we just, you know, you rub spit on it. You put a little dirt on it, you went back out and you played hockey. Nobody really knew what concussions were all about. But as athletes have evolved, even at the youngest of ages, and more importantly, as the equipment has evolved, now all of a sudden the danger of concussion is huge. Problem is that while improving safety as far as the gear, what we've done is we've put ourselves in jeopardy of brain injuries, because that trauma on the head, even though the helmets are better, that trauma on the head from that solid plastic, almost like a steel girdle that these guys have on their hockey equipment nowadays, really causes problems. And that's where SafeBrain comes in. Because if you do incur a concussion, all of a sudden the light goes off, you know exactly what you're up against, and you want to get that kid off the ice as soon as possible.
As a coach in youth sports, it's extremely important for me to make sure that any player that is returning back to the ice to play is fully healed and ready to play, because obviously dealing with brain injuries, they might seem totally fine on the outside, but you know, inside their skull they're still actually healing, and it's not as noticeable. So something like SafeBrain allows us to just be that much more certain as to whether or not they are safe to return back to the ice.
As a coach, it's like having an extra set of eyes on the ice. If I miss something, SafeBrain may catch it.
With the excitement of not only customers, but reps and manufacturers and you know, pretty much all those involved in this industry, I'm really excited to see where this product goes.
In baseball, pitchers have a pitch count that can protect how many balls they've thrown in a game, and now we have the capability of having a hit count for our brains, and being the most important organ of our body, we have the capability to manage how many hits we've been taking throughout our entire career.
SafeBrain technology can be used for multiple different sports, including football, hockey, extreme sports, anything that has physical contact or is susceptible to head trauma. Therefore, this is very, very important when it comes to modern day head injury assessment.
You know, while this technology doesn't necessarily prevent the concussion, I mean, you know, the kid's out there on the ice and it doesn't steer an opponent away from you know, contacting the player. It just gives us a preventative measure of throwing that kid back out there, you know, and taking a secondary blow to his head if he's not able to go.
You can tend to have some players that have a lower threshold when it comes to brain injuries because they've had certain history of contact where it has affected them. You can lower their threshold level that will allow the indicator light to come on at a lower impact, but also too gives the coach, and for that matter doctors, the ability to go back and determine where the hit came from and the extent of the hit, and if there is any impact as far as injury to the brain.
It's hard to see a negative with SafeBrain. It seems like, you know, there's nothing bad about it. It can always help.
This technology is definitely key when it comes to determining how much force is applied to different or various spots on the head.
SafeBrain takes the gray area out of when to assess a head injury, which is extremely important to a coach.
This technology allows this generation to be more educated about the process and a little more proactive about going about head injuries.
If there's one buzzword in professional sports right now, it's concussion, especially in the game of hockey. And it threatens our game. It threatens our superstars. It takes some of the greatest players out of the game. Sidney Crosby's career was truly in jeopardy because of a concussion. And you don't want to lose the greatest players. We've got severe suspensions now for hits to the head. concussions are a serious thing. You look at the game of football and all the damage, the post-traumatic damage that is done years and years later on the football field. And you go down through combat sports, boxing, and you look at the damage that's done. And then you bring in a system like SafeBrain, and it's proactive. We're trying to nip it in the bud, if you will. We're trying to catch it at the infancy, make sure that we don't send injured players back into combat. That's the real key right there, is that if you're hurt, sit down. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured. And there's a difference between hurt, injured, and having a concussion. And if you have a concussion, you have no business being on the playing field. And we're fortunate to have a system like SafeBrain that if that light goes on and you've got a concussion, grab your sweatsuit, you should be sitting next to the coach.